Hello everybody, we're going to take a look at creating the base skeleton for this character, and we're gonna get started now. So what we need is to start off setting off the main spine. So I'm going to push 4 on the keyboard to get into wireframe mode, and then if I go to rigging, I can create the joint tool. Going to start off with the pelvis, going to the waist, the bottom of the rib cage, middle of the rib cage, up by where the clavicle is, but in the middle of the body, the bottom of the neck, middle of the neck, base of the head. Then I'm going to go into the middle of the head and aiming out through the front of the eyes. This character doesn't have a mouth, so I'm not going to create a set of joints for the jaw there. Okay, so if I push 4 on the keyboard here, we can kind of see where the joints are placed. So the joints are placed right on the image plane right here. So if I were to go here in the front view, and let's say we're going to start on the legs now, so I push 4 to go into the view here, the wireframe view, and then selecting the joints, I'm going to go to the hip, then the knee, and the ankle. And I'm just going to pause there so that I can show you guys really quick. See how it doesn't line it up exactly the way we want it, because it's going right on the 0 plane for that. So I'm going to delete this so that we can adjust it a little bit better. What we're going to do is go to the joint tool, go here to the hip, and then I'm going to middle mouse button, click and drag on the side viewport to line it up exactly where I want it. Then I can go down to the knee and adjust it if I need to. That looks okay for my character here. And when we come here, we're going to want to go a little bit forward, and then as we go back, a little bit back to make sure that there's a little bit of a bend in the leg as we're placing it. And this will help us in the future. Then just middle mouse button drag to make sure it's exactly where I want it. Just going back and forth from the front and the side viewport. And I'm going to go to the ball of the foot. There we go. And then going out the tip of the toes. Maybe just a tiny bit, and then let's look at it here. Again, just using middle mouse button to adjust this. Okay, so I finished that joint chain there, and that looks good. Then here I'm going to go in and do the arm. So I'm going to start off with the clavicle joint, about right there. Then going to the shoulder. Actually, let me undo that. I did Control Z to undo. Here, I can go and check to make sure it's exactly where I want. And actually, that is pretty good for the clavicle. Then I'm going to go to the shoulder. Got the shoulder where it's going to be rotating from, and then I need to middle mouse button drag and make sure it's in the right spot. You can double check in the top viewport, although it might be a little bit hard to see, but I think that's pretty good. Then from the top viewport I can actually go down to the elbow, and then let's make sure that it is exactly where we need it. And then going down to the wrist. And then to start off with here, I'm just going to go and create one in the palm. then going out through the middle of the finger. And here we have a lot of overlapping geometry, so I might have to look in the viewport. So here, because it's selected, I just pushed F on the keyboard, and that will focus in on that particular item. There we go. So we need to go to the next joint up here. Looks good. And the next joint. Looks good. And then we're going to want one more here. We can't click it on the viewport, on the perspective viewport, because it will place it completely the wrong place if we try that. But I'm going to go here and to the tip of the finger. And that looks good. Push enter on the numeric keypad. That will finalize that joint chain here. And then we can go in individually and create it, and that's probably the best way to do each one of these, but just to make this a little bit faster, what I'm going to do is just reposition it, and then I'll fix some of the settings that we need to get it exactly right the way we need it in the future for the rotations and things like that. Okay, take this and duplicate it, position it right for the next finger. Okay, that joint is placed correctly, this one is not. That looks much better. Duplicate it for the pinky. Okay, so I gotta position that one right where we need it. And then maybe drop it a little bit lower, and that looks good. Then I will duplicate this again. This is going to be for the thumb. So we're going to need where the thumb bends down here. Close to the palm. And then we can start positioning the joints at the knuckles. And that looks good now. Okay, so we have the whole arm here. And then we need to make sure that the arm is parented to the main spine chain, and this is where it's going to be connecting at the top of the chest. So let's parent that there. Then I'm going to take the hips and parent it to the pelvis. So the pelvis right here is going to be the root. If we select it, you can see that the whole joint chain is here. Now we are going to want to make sure that we have everything over on the other side, but before that I want to make sure that we name and have all of the joints named correctly, because that's going to save us quite a bit of time on one side, because then we can have it automatically change the names for the other, so that way we can keep a good naming convention. So here in the channel box I'm going to say C underscore pelvis underscore JNT for joint underscore bind. Do it all lowercase. JNT underscore bind. There we go. So we have C underscore pelvis underscore JNT underscore bind. So I'm going to be using this a lot, so I'm going to copy that end part that is just underscore JNT. There we go. Here. So we're going to say this is waist, so it's going to be C underscore waist underscore joint bind, and actually I added another underscore, so joint bind, there we go. And then this is going to be C underscore lower, and then chest with a capital C, so I start off with the lowercase on the first word, and then the second word I will make it capital, so that way we can see it's different words. And then paste the underscore JNT underscore bind. And then let's call this C underscore sternum underscore JNT underscore bind. Then we'll say that, let's see, we named that lower chest, this is going to be upper chest here. So C underscore upper chest underscore JNT underscore bind. And then this is going to be the lower neck, so C underscore lower neck underscore JNT underscore bind. C underscore mid neck underscore JNT underscore bind. And then this is going to be controlling the head, so it's going to be C underscore head underscore JNT underscore bind. Then this is going to be a C underscore head underscore JNT underscore top. So we're not going to bind this, it's just a kind of visual representation. So if we didn't have the geometry showing, so if we turn that off, we can see, we can easily tell which way the character is looking. And then let's turn that back on. Then this is going to be C underscore head underscore JNT underscore aim. There we go. So we have all of the middle part connected, or the center. That's why we have it as a C underscore. Then here, this is going to be left. So we orient it by the character's left side, not like screen left or anything like that, because the character's left side will stay consistent, whereas the character's the screen left and right might change. So we're basing this off of the characters left and right. So this is going to be L underscore, let's try that again, L underscore clavicle underscore JNT underscore bind. L underscore shoulder underscore JNT underscore bind. L underscore elbow underscore JNT underscore bind. Then we have the wrist, so it's going to be L underscore wrist underscore JNT underscore bind. Then for the palm, this is going to be L underscore palm underscore J and T, and this is not going to be a bind joint, so I am not going to worry about adding bind to it. Then this will be L underscore thumb 01 underscore J and T underscore bind. And this time I'm going to copy the whole thing because basically the rest of the thumb is going to be named the same way, but I'm going to add a number to it. So we can have each joint be 0, 1, 0, 2, and so forth. And then this one is going to be 0, 3, but instead of bind, we're going to name this an end joint. And there we go. So we have thumb 1, thumb 2, and thumb... Did I miss one? Thumb 2. Oh, so I named it exactly the same things. Thumb 2, and then this is thumb 3. So this is going to end up being thumb 4. That makes more sense. And then this is going to be thumb... That's still thumb 2, and this is thumb 3. There you go. So it just goes sequentially 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the fourth one, that's going to be the end joint. So here we'll repeat the process, but for the index finger. So I'm pasting the thumb, but I'm going to replace this with index. Copy it, and then move down the chain. And this is going to be index 2. This is index 3. And then the last one, index 4. There we go. So we have all the way to the 4. This last one is not a bind joint, it is an end joint, so we need to make sure we classify that as an end joint and then move on to the next one, and this is going to be the middle finger. Middle 0, 1. Index bind, there we go. So copy that so that I can just change the numbers. This is going to be 0, 2. 0, 3. And then the last one is going to be 0, 4, but we need to make sure that it is an end joint. Okay, now we have the ring finger. So we're going to rename this to be ring. Copy all of this and paste it on the next joints, just changing the numbers. So that's 2 and 3, then 4 with changing the number and taking off bind and replacing that with end. So now we have the pinky finger. Oops. Let's fix that. This is not ring, but pinky. Copy it all, and we're going to paste it off in the next joint, and then make that 2. Make this 3. And then the last one is going to be our end joint. So this is pinky finger 4, and instead of bind, I'm going to go to end. I just want to rotate really quick to see if we have this placed just right. And maybe it looked like it originally, but I feel like this is slightly off. So I'm just going to make a quick adjustment here. Like I said, we'll fix the rotations in a later lesson. Okay, so we have all of the arm, hand, and finger joints named. Now we just need to finalize the leg here. So this is going to be L underscore leg underscore JNT underscore bind, and then I am going to let's just copy the whole thing. Copy it so that we can go here, paste, and then instead of leg, this is going to be knee. Then we go in and name the ankle. Then we go down to the ball. So let's paste that, and this is going to be the ball. And then this is toes. There we go. So we have that there. So eventually we're going to mirror this, and let me show you that really quick, but then we're going to undo it. So we're going to go to edit mesh. Sorry, not edit mesh. We want to be inside of rigging. We're going to go to skeleton, and we are going to go to mirror joints. There we go. Let's go to the option box. We're going to go on the YZ plane, and what we want to search for in this case will be L underscore, and replace it with R underscore. And you'll see that when we mirror it over this way, that all the joints have been renamed and have the R underscore, so it saves us quite a bit of time here. But I'm going to undo this right now, because in the next lesson what we're going to do is add a few joints over here in the middle, so that way we can get some twist rotations to get a nicer rotation for our characters' movements when we are doing that. So we're going to do that in the arm. We're going to have kind of some in-between joints here, and then we're also going to have in-between joints here for the leg as well. So we will see you guys in the next lesson. Have a good one.